Hi, this video is part 1 of a 3-part video series where I want to discuss placing calculated controls such as totals, averages, and counts in forms and subforms. The first video I will talk about calculated controls in forms. The second video I will talk about placing calculated controls in subforms. And then finally, the third video, I will talk about placing the results from calculated controls in subforms into a main form. So here we have a form that is in the design view of this form. So I'm going to go ahead and go into form view so that you can see what the form looks like currently. And you notice it's a long string of lots of different records here that show customer order history, the name, and whether it was paid or not, and then the amount paid. So let's say that I want to, for example, know the total of all of my sales, and perhaps the average, and maybe even a count of how many sales I have had accomplished in the last, since I began keeping records. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to right click here, and I'm going to go down to design view, and I'm going to go into the design view so that I can begin to add those totals, averages, and counts into this form. So the first thing that I'm going to do in order to place the totals at the bottom of the form is I'm going to right click and I'm going to click on form header and footer. And now you can see some space up here under form header and some space down here for form footer. And so basically what a form header does is it shows at the top of a form, and a form footer shows at the bottom of a form. And I can right click and click on form view, and it will show that gray stripe now at the top, and at the bottom it shows a yellow stripe for the form footer. But we want to have totals here. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to design view, and quickly I'm going to add in some nice header and title here just to make it nice. And so what I'll go ahead and do is paste some headers that I have copied from another form. And so here we have the headers. But that's not really what we're focusing on right now. We're focusing on the totals and average and counts that we want to do, or else what I would say is calculated controls. So to insert a calculated control in this bottom form footer, I'm going to click on design, and then I'm going to click on text box. And then I will click here twice, and here I have now an unbound text box. That means that there's no data that would actually go in here at the moment. It's unbound. There's nothing in the control source at all. And if I were to right click and go to form view, you could in fact see that now in the form footer I have here a place where there's a box but nothing is there, and then also I have a label for that box. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and right click and go back into design view, and I'm going to place the totals for the cost in this field. And how I do that is I come over here to control source and I click and I say equals sum. And then I'm going to put a parentheses here, which means it's the beginning of indicating what information the sum function needs. So I'm going to type in the field cost, which begins with a left bracket indicating the beginning of the name of the field cost, and then COST, and then end bracket saying that's the end of the name of the field that I want to sum. In this case it's cost, and then I will have a right paren indicating the end of the information that I'm providing the sum function, and I'll go ahead and press enter. At the same time, I will bring this label over here and I will go ahead and change this to total colon, okay? And I don't particularly like the fact that the lettering is gray, so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to change that to black. Okay. And the other thing that I want to do is I want to change the format to currency so that when it shows the sum, it will show it with $signs and commas. Okay. So I've inserted the sum. I think I'll go ahead and I will also insert the average. And so again, I will insert a calculated control by clicking on design and then the text box, and then I will double click, and here I will come over here and just like sum, except for this time I want to say average, so I'll say equals AVG, and then I will have a left paren indicating the beginning of the information I'm going to provide that average function. Then I want to say the cost field because I want the average for the cost field. So I'm going to have a left square bracket, and then I will say cost, and a right square bracket, and then I will say parentheses indicating the end of the information I'm providing to the average function, and then I'll press enter. And I'm going to go ahead and bring this over, and I'm going to type average. Oops. So I'm going to move that over a little bit. And then I'm going to also change the format for this field as well so that it's currency. And then finally I'm going to insert a count field. So I'm going to click on design again and go in and do another text box, and I'm going to double click, and there I have another unbound field, and this time I'm going to say equals count, and then left paren, left square bracket, cost, right square bracket, right paren, and enter. And this time I'm not going to actually change the format of this particular field because it is not a dollar amount, it is just a number. So over here I'm going to change the label for this field, and I'm going to say count. I'm say colon. And I'm going to go ahead and move this over as well. Move over a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and align them. Okay, and I'm going to go, I didn't put those two fields in black, so I'm going to do that now. And so then if we go into Home and View, we'll go into Form View, and there in fact is our totals and our average and our count. Those are all calculated controls. So I'll see you in the next video as the three-part series that will talk about placing these calculated controls in subforms. Thanks.